What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some very important levels on NIO and talk about why NIO ended up crashing today as we had some bad news that came out. I'm also going to talk about Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a few more tickers. But before I do anything like that, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and this offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with NIO in the markets. So NIO is once again looking very, very weak right now. Unfortunately, it lost $7, which is its critical support. And because it lost this support, this opens a lot more room for more downside, unfortunately. Now, NIO is very, very oversold, but unfortunately, that alone is not enough to really save it, at least in terms of like the selling that's still hitting it. That's because of more bad news that just keeps on coming out. Now, I'm still a big bull for the long term for NIO. I believe in this company's future. I think that more buying opportunities are coming. But the issue is now that it lost that $7 support that it's been holding for years, right? It's been holding above 7 for a very, very long period of time. It's broken that, so it's a big sign of weakness, and there could be a lot more downside coming. Now, with the downside coming, I still see this as a very good dip buying opportunity, but you have to be prepared for the fact that there could always be more downside from where we currently are. So I wouldn't necessarily just go all in at 6.5, try buying it up over there. I would, prefer to just like buy little by little by little. I just wanted to call out exactly why that is. Now, on top of this, I just want to mention that with NIO showing the weakness that it is showing, it's just not, we had some negative data that came out, and that's what contributed to this. So I will be talking about this and the charts just a little bit later. Let's first talk about some data. Tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, January 17th. We have retail sales coming an hour before market opens and the export and imports data. We also have some Fed speakers. We have Barr, Bowman, Woods, and a couple more of these speakers coming out. On top of that, we also have lots of manufacturing numbers. We have Beige from the Fed giving a speech, so a bunch of the Fed speakers will be coming out, and we'll be watching to see what they end up saying. But besides that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy, at least for data for the next few days. But for tomorrow, we just have a bunch of Fed speakers and some manufacturing numbers, exports and imports data throughout the day. So we'll see what volatility this ends up causing. Watch for volatility an hour before market open, and then throughout the day, as we have lots of these Fed speakers. Not to mention at 9:15, we have more manufacturing numbers. So I'll be watching all of this very, very carefully, and we'll just have to see how it ends up going. But with that being said, there's also some earnings coming out for tomorrow. Tomorrow in the morning, we have Charles Schwab, which could affect how the market opens. Then after market close, we have Discover and a couple of others. So very, very minor earnings except for Charles Schwab. Nothing else is like that insane. I also want to mention that when it comes to NIO, we had some negative data. So the Chinese registrations have come out for the second week of January, January 8th to the 14th. Unfortunately, NIO ended up seeing about 1,700 new registrations. Between January 1st and January 14th, we have about 4,700, which is actually a little bit lower than what we typically would want. So we're hoping that NIO could get stronger numbers later. The second week was actually very weak compared to the first week, right? Because this shows us that they did 3,000 deliveries for the first week of January. Second week, they only did about 1,700. So not very good. This caused NIO to drop quite a bit compared to like Li Auto, which is doing very well, and many others. Even Xpeng didn't have the best of numbers, so it was very slow. And this could be because it's like after the holidays. This could be one of the factors as to why. But as we approach Lunar New Year, we'll see if there are any like improvements or not. Generally, things tend to be a little slow then, but from a fundamental standpoint, there tends to be more travel in China, so that could actually help them out. Now, there's also some news coming out. The NIO EL6 is getting a lot more attention in Norway, so that's good for them. Li Auto opened its first two NIO house equivalents. That's actually good news for them. This is making the headlines about NIO comparing the two of them, but just shows how NIO is acting as a good influence for other companies as well. And on top of this, we just have the Chinese EV sales leaderboard. NIO came way down here at the bottom in this chart with only 1,700, so not the best of things considering they did over 3,000 the previous week. Not the best of news, but let's just hope things improve towards the end of the month. Now, NIO is at the lows, but other articles are saying that this is a good buying opportunity. Other analysts are saying that NIO is still a buy. This is a good opportunity. I could agree, but my only warning would be the fact that there's always a risk of it dropping lower. So my best strategy is just dollar cost averaging, and just be very careful during times like this. There's going to be a lot of negative news coming out, lots of fear being incited by the media. NIO dropped on high volume, 121 million in volume. That's bearish looking, not the best of news. And short volume is going up to about 53%. The price price ratio is basically dropping. So with this dropping, NIO is showing a lot more weakness. When it comes to seasonality, NIO tends to be more volatile, especially on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I'll be watching for that as well. Watch for more volatility around noon, also around 2 p.m. and in the last hour of the day. So we'll have to just wait and see how it goes. But anyways, that's pretty much it for now. Now let's break down what's happening to NIO. So as far as NIO goes, something interesting is going on. NIO is down 8.65%. And if anything, we're going to have to see how this ends up going. So basically, NIO dropped all the way down to 6.5 because we lost $7. And that's once again a big sign of weakness. I do want to mention that the daily still looks weak. So does the weekly, but we're at some key support right now at 6.5. So we'll have to see if that holds or not. We're at the lowest we've seen NIO in years. We haven't seen it at these levels since like 2020. Even like 2021, we didn't see it this low. So we're at the lowest we've seen this thing since the 2020s, right? Which is pretty crazy. 2020, I mean. So the next level I'm basically eyeing is around 5.2, not 5.2, 6.25. If that fails us, we have 5.9 coming next. So we'll have to see if we hold 6.5 or not. But I do want to mention that going to the modern day, we're starting the week in a very, very low note. We're looking kind of weak right now, and there is still a risk of downside, unfortunately. So be very careful with NIO, guys. Let's hope 6.5 holds. I'm going to be looking for a little rebound back up towards 6.73 to 6.8, and we'll see if we can try to reclaim $7. If we fail and we reject off 6.8, it's going to drop lower. If we break back up and we end up getting back above 7, then things could be okay. So we'll be watching this very, very carefully. For other tickers out there like Tesla, we're actually getting a very, very nice defensive bounce. Tesla's turning bullish on the 4-hour time frame. We're going to be looking for a push towards 225 and eventually 229 to 230. So there's some potential for it to bounce. On SPY, however, it's actually very stationary. It's been stuck going back and forth and back and forth. To turn bearish, you want to see this thing close below the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, below 473. If we're bullish, you want to see it close above 476, which could give us one more push. Otherwise, it's just range bound going back and forth and back and forth. We might see something similar that'll pop when we open to 476.5, back down, just lots of sideways. Excuse me, sorry guys. Price action. This also resembles kind of like a slanted head and shoulders, so we'll just see. But otherwise, we have to lose 473 and close below it to turn bearish. We have to close above 476 to turn bullish. We'll just have to wait and see. Otherwise, we're just kind of stuck right now, kind of flat, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Besides that, as far as Apple goes, Apple's kind of like stuck right now. Even though Apple it has like a head and shoulders like structure, it kind of rejects up to 20 EMA. It might just range trade, in my opinion. It might just see some range trading. I'm going to be looking for a pop towards 184 tomorrow, then a rejection, and lots of sideways price action, making another sideways day with all the Fed speakers, and then more volatility could happen towards the end of the week. But the structure on Apple is looking a bit more bearish overall, so we're making lower highs and lower lows. So if we kind of push upwards, we could see a rejection. If we fail, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But if anything, we're going to be very careful with this. We do have this gap to fill on Apple. If Apple breaks above 184, look for a push towards 185.5 to try to fill this gap. There could be an attempt for it to try to do so on the 4-hour as we're actually showing some life. So I'm going to be looking for a little push up and some sideways price action. That's what I'm anticipating for Apple, which could help the market to some extent. On the QQQ, this is still holding up decently. It's actually starting to turn a little bit more bullish. Going to be looking to see if this thing can try to reclaim 411. If we do end up breaking above 410, watch 411. It does favor a push to the upside. It's going to try to fight for some upside. So watch that for tomorrow. Watch 411 and then 412. For support, make sure you watch 410, then 408. In my opinion, I think there's definitely potential for upside. As far as Nvda goes, Nvda has pushed up towards the high rate over here. It could go a little higher towards this 568 area, and then we're going to be watching to see if there's any sideways price action from here. But overall, Nvidia is favoring the bulls a bit more. Nice push up and still trying to push in the after hours. This thing is not showing signs of stopping yet, so there's no point in assuming it's going to stop. So Nvidia is looking bullish. Everything else is still holding up. we're going to be looking for an attempt to hold up on SPY, some range trading. QQQ could push up higher. Tesla's going to likely push up higher. Apple looks like it could push up higher than trade sideways. Nvidia looks like it's still relatively strong, so it's either going to hold up at these levels or even push a little higher at first. So most of the market is starting to look like it's going to try to hold up. NIO is looking relatively weak, hoping that it tries to bounce off 6.5 since it held support and closed above that. So let's see if we try to get to 6.8. It might retest that. If it rejects off this, it's going to turn more bearish. We're going to be looking for a 6.8 rejection, more downside. If we're bullish, we're going to be looking for a close above 7, and we're going to be watching that very carefully. But besides that, that's it for now. Please remain calm, cool, and collected, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.